What's up, everybody? We're going to come in and talk about the results from last night's NXT Takeover Brooklyn 3. So, if you haven't seen it yet, I would recommend you don't watch this yet because we're going to talk about all the results and going forward from here. So, with that being said, that was your disclaimer, and we're going to move on. So, we opened up the show with Almas versus Johnny Gargano in what everybody thought was going to be Gargano's beginning of rise and maybe even a Ciampa situation. However, that did not occur. Almas's manager, whatever her name is, because nobody really cares, realized that he was getting ready to lose and threw a DIY shirt at Gargano, and it was enough to distract him for Almas to get the victory. It was a good match, all in all, great match. Two phenomenal athletes, and I do like that they let Almas win instead of Gargano. I don't think Gargano needs the push right now because he's already got the fans behind him big time. So yeah, it was a little weird, but all in all, pretty good. So we're going to move on to the second match, which was the NXT Tag Team Championship match, which pitted the Authors of Pain defending their titles and their undefeated streak against Sanity. And Sanity jumped them before the match, blah, 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 blah. And then what I really liked about this was the match started off with Alexander Wolf in the ring with Killian Dane on the apron when the match officially started. And Wolf got beat nonstop for a couple of minutes. And when he started to get close to a tag, Eric Young took off his jacket and jumped up and told Killian Dane to get down. And because Dane never got tagged in, it was fine, apparently. And Eric Young got tagged in. And I like that because that is a huge way to throw people off and them to never know who's actually going to be their opponents until the second person gets tagged in. It's huge. I like it. It's kind of like a New Day thing, and kind of like the not really, but kind of like the Shield, or the recent iteration of the Wyatt family with Orton, Wyatt, and Luke Harper, where all three of them were tag team champions, and then New Day, they obviously follow the Freebird rule. So it'll be interesting to see if Sanity goes the route of the Freebird rule, or if they'll just recognize Alexander Wolf and Eric Young as champions, when seeing as Sanity got the victory and defeated and dethroned the Authors of Pain with an innovative tag team move of a assisted backdrop by Alexander Wolf and a diving neck breaker from EY. And I liked it. It was cool. My biggest issue with this match was the spot where Nikki Cross just started interfering, and the ref wasn't even unconscious, so he was just looking the other way the whole time. You're telling me she can climb to the top rope, jump off, get caught, and then Killian Dane can get involved and take whichever Author of Pain he did out, because I barely can tell the difference between the two at this point because they're really boring to watch, in my opinion. But he put him through a table, and the ref didn't see anything. It's kind of dumb, but overall, great match. I like the fact that Sanity is now the champions, and after the match, recently debuting Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, or on the independent scene known as the Red Dragon team, they had like a reunion. Kind of came in, attacked Sanity, attacked the Authors of Pain, and then hit a couple cool tag team moves. It all looked pretty good. It was a nice little let us wreck shop real quick kind of thing. And then they held up the tag team titles, and I like that WWE is trying to push themselves away from the whole homegrown stars. And they're acknowledging people who made a name for themselves in independent scenes, especially Ring of Honor, which we've seen recently, over the past couple of years, them really do and not squash them so much and job squad them like they used to. Invasion storyline. Anywho, so then we moved on to a filler match, Aleister Black versus Hideo Itami. I don't know what they're doing with Hideo. Obviously, they wanted Black to win. Obviously, Black is going to win. Aleister Black is who they are pushing to the moon right now, and I don't blame them. He's athletic. He's different. He's fun to watch, and he's not what you would typically see with a wrestler. He's kind of like Corey Graves, who was fairly popular in NXT and is very popular now as a color commentator due to his unfortunate early retirement from in-ring competition. But it's very similar, where he doesn't fit the role when you look at somebody and say he's a pro wrestler. He's different, and I like it. But he's good in the ring. It's not like he lacks skill. Again, like Corey Graves, didn't lack skill. And that's why they're so charismatic and people are so willing to get behind them. So, like I said, Aleister Black beat Hideo. It wasn't what I would call a squash, but it was blatantly obvious Hideo wasn't winning. Hideo didn't have very great moments in the match, but that's not the point. So we're going to move on to the NXT Women's Championship match with the undefeated reigning champion Asuka putting her title on the line again against Ember Moon. And, oh God, this was actually a really good match. I was really impressed. There was good storytelling. There was really good ringmanship. Ember Moon looked phenomenal. She suffered an arm injury, and eventually that allowed Asuka to put her in the Asuka lock. And Moon had no choice but to tap. They made both of them look strong. Even though they made Moon tap out, they both looked strong in the end because Moon, she was resilient as all hell, and Asuka was able to kick out of an Eclipse, which is a great finisher. All in all, great match. Asuka won. Honestly, one of, if not my favorite match on the entire card. And then the main event, which is the only other match that could even be arguable for best match of the night, would be when Bobby Roode defended his NXT Championship against Drew McIntyre. And McIntyre got the victory. And I don't know how I feel about it. Because I'm kind of tired of seeing undefeated champions. Because, Asuka, she's an undefeated champion. Up until tonight, Authors of Pain were undefeated champions. And McIntyre hasn't been beaten since he's come back to the WWE, more specifically NXT. And I don't like it. I don't like the undefeated champion thing, because then it's like, well, then every match they should be in should be a title match, because they're just so hard to beat. And I don't like it, because it's like, they're not going to lose a regular match. They're going to make any match that they would lose, since they're undefeated, and they mentioned that on numerous occasions. It's going to have to be a big match. Any big match that a champion's in is a title match. It's like, it pretty much guarantees Asuka and McIntyre will now no longer have any chance of losing on regular NXTs. Anytime you watch a Drew McIntyre match from here on out, unless it's at an NXT TakeOver special, he's not going to lose, because he's the undefeated champion. So I don't necessarily like that. However, I do like that they put the belt on McIntyre. I think that Roode needed to drop it. He needs to get pushed up to the main roster because he is getting older, and he needs time to get on the main roster and shine a little bit. Put a couple straps on him up there, and not make it a waste of his time. So I do agree with taking it off of him. McIntyre is still young. McIntyre still has a lot ahead of him. And he's already established himself in the independent scene, that he can carry it now that Bobby's going to move on. Because Bobby's definitely going to make the jump to the main roster now. It just has to happen. And honestly, let's really think about it. Every NXT champion so far, once they've lost the strap, except for a couple people who, decided to do 2 reigns, whatever. Everyone that is a previous champion is on the main roster now. Everyone. all of the former champions are on the main roster in some way, shape, or form. So it's only a matter of time. Rude might get a rematch and then move up. He might not even take a rematch because of the segment that followed the main event, which was the team that we discussed earlier, Red Dragon, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, showing up, and it looked like they were getting ready to attack McIntyre when all of a sudden from behind, McIntyre got attacked by the debuting Adam Cole. And I really like this. Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly have a history of being a team. And now Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish have a history of being a team. This is going to be a great Ring of Honor reunion. And these three guys can get pushed to the moon and really show what they're capable of based off their independent scene work. And of course, after they attacked McIntyre, Cole held up the NXT Championship. So, we had three independent scene guys hold up championships tonight. Not as champions, but as kind of saying, we're coming for the belts. We're coming for them. And now you've got a trifecta that's coming for the tag team and NXT championships. All in all, not bad. I honestly think that unless WWE does tomorrow night properly, or tonight, however you're looking at it, depending on what time you consider it to be, that unless they do SummerSlam right, Takeover will beat SummerSlam, which isn't uncommon. Takeover usually beats the pay-per-view that follows them. They've been doing it pretty consistently. However, I do think that SummerSlam has the significant more potential to beat this Takeover. This Takeover wasn't as strong as I was hoping it would be. However, I don't have anything against it. I wouldn't say that you shouldn't watch it. But that's all I got for this Takeover review. We're going to do another one of these in regards to SummerSlam, either tomorrow night after SummerSlam's over or at some point on Monday. And we're going to talk about the whatever the results are from SummerSlam. So this is where this video is going to end. I'm actually getting ready to upload this and another video where we're going to talk about some opinions about the NXT Championship, which now belongs to Drew McIntyre. So if you want to tune into that, that is going to be uploaded right around the same time as this. Go check that out. Feel free. But that is all for tonight in regards to Takeover. So it has been fun talking to you. I hope you enjoyed everything I had to say. If you have any agrees or disagrees in any of the side notes that I've made, feel free to let me know in the comments. And go check out my previous video, which was the predictions for SummerSlam, and the next video, which is going to be talking about the NXT Championship and some things that we may want to consider. So, all right, guys. Thanks again. Bye.